Breaking news out of the NBA. Zion Williamson will miss at least 3 weeks with a strained right hamstring. The former #1 overall pick was injured during Monday night's loss to the 76ers. Zion is averaging a team-leading 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 4.5 assists for the Pelicans this season. Right now, we're bringing in our head coach, Avery Johnson, to get his reaction. Zion had the Pelicans marching to the top of the Western Conference over the first half of the season. And now, Coach, another injury sidelining him for a relatively extended period of time. What do you make of this injury and the length he'll be off the floor?
Well, it's good news and bad news. The bad news, obviously, he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. He's been playing at an MVP level. You could potentially put him in the conversation with the Pelicans, in the third position in the Western Conference. You can put him in the conversation with guys like Luka, Jason Tatum, obviously Kevin Durant had a resurgence. Ja Morant is probably going to have something to say about that. But what this guy has done with the Pelicans this year has been extraordinary. His coach was just named Coach of the Month, doing an amazing job. The fans have turned out to support this team in New Orleans, which supposedly was a Saints town, but now the Pelicans are doing an amazing job. And so the bad news is he's going to be out. The good news is it's not playoff time yet. It hasn't occurred going into the playoffs or during the playoffs. So this team is very deep. They'll be able to survive. If you look at their schedule, they got Miami a couple of times, obviously the Mavericks, they got Milwaukee thrown in there. So they'll be able to survive because this is one of the deepest teams, not just in the Western Conference, but in all of the NBA.
So I want to know, how do you see the Pelicans moving forward once they do bring Zion back? How do they look the second half of the stretch?
Well, when healthy, they have the makings of a top 4 legitimate team in the Western Conference. Now, whether they can get out the first round or win a series, that remains to be seen. We obviously know, Steph Curry, who's out, Devin Booker, who's out with Phoenix. When those guys get back, we know things could change a little bit more. Luka's playing at an exceptionally high level for the Mavericks, so it doesn't look like they're missing Jalen Brunson. I still love a team like the Los Angeles Clippers because if they're healthy with those bookends with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, I think they got 2 of the best two-way wing players in all of basketball. And obviously the Memphis Grizzlies talks a big game, but we'll see if they can back it up. But when healthy, there's an argument that the Pelicans are one of the top 4 teams in the Western Conference.
So when you look at it as a coach, even putting on your old player hat, what are your concerns of bringing Zion back and just how cautious you are? Because Williamson also missed all of last season due to a foot injury.
Yeah, and because of his injury history, and because we know he's had some weight issues, it's a lot of force coming down on those knees and hamstrings and quads and groin when he goes up with as explosive an athlete as he is. So if I'm the New Orleans Pelicans, when he's ready to come back in 3 weeks, I'll give him another week just to make sure. I'm going to really treat this delicately and very conservatively with Zion Williamson because, again, if he's not available for the playoffs, the Pelicans have no shot of even getting out of the first round because the West is just too deep.
As you said it there, silver lining the injury happening now, not in the postseason. That's our Avery Johnson there with his reaction to Zion Williamson being out at least 3 weeks with a strained hamstring. Thanks, Coach. And here's a look at New Orleans' upcoming schedule. Zion likely to miss all these upcoming games.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.